Jack here, owner of Hockey Alley, bringing you back hockey history. Today I got special guest, NHL player Kevan Miller. How are you, Kevin?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Thank you for coming on and talking to us. How many years did you play in the NHL?
I think it was about 12 years.
12 years.
Yeah,
And you have two brothers that played also, correct?
correct. And two cousins,
Wow. Who are the cousins?
Ryan and Drew.
Okay. And they played for what teams?
Ryan played most of his career in Buffalo and then spent a little time in Anaheim and Vancouver.
The goalie. Okay.
Yep.
And I've heard of Drew Miller.
Drew was in Anaheim, and I believe that's where he won his Stanley Cup, and then spent a bunch of years in Detroit.
And then Kip played for what teams?
He was drafted by Quebec, and then that was right when they moved it to where did they move it? Minnesota or Dallas? I don't remember. And then he played the Island and Washington and Pittsburgh.
And you have Kelly Miller and
Yes.
your brother Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly spent 1,000 games in Washington.
Wow. So he was the whole career there. That's awesome.
He's actually drafted by the Rangers and was there in his first year, and then got traded that first year and stayed in Washington the rest.
Wow. Was there any plan over the years that you guys would be on one line together? Were you guys trying to make that trade or anything that say, hey, I want to play? Was that ever in the mind?
No, the players don't really ever have much say in it. I got traded to Washington for about a month. I had problems with the coach and got traded out of Washington pretty quickly.
Oh. Yeah, hockey, it's a tough business. Sometimes you don't get it. Like the Stastny brothers is the three brothers I can remember that were on one line back in the 80s.
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah. And were you and your brothers very competitive growing up, or did you work together?
Well, both. I mean, we worked together and trained together and skated together a lot. But there's always that competitive edge.
Yeah.
I think all hockey players have a very high competitiveness in their system. That's what makes them hockey players.
Yeah.
And so we were very supportive. But when it was time to go against each other, we were very competitive.
That's awesome. It's a good competitive in a good way, you know. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And when you played with the Rangers, you had Roger Nielsen as your coach. How was it to play for Roger Nielsen?
So Roger was one of my favorite coaches. He was very good about talking to the players, working with the players, laid out a pretty good plan for each player on what their goals and how they should approach the game. Told you what he expected out of you, and I loved the ability to communicate and be total honest and upfront with everything that he was doing as a coach. And that was a rare trait. Most coaches didn't talk to the players very much, and when they had something to say, it was just negative and not a way to make them better.
No, and he was called Captain Video for a reason, right?
Yeah, he was one of the first ones that used a lot of video, and now it's gone to probably to the extreme.
Yeah.
How much video? I mean, guys are watching video right on the benches nowadays. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, he was one of the first ones. It was very good. It was very helpful.
And he never yelled, or was he a type of coach that ever yelled, or was he like a
No.
calm, like Scotty Bowman?
Very calm.
Wow.
Even not a yeller at all.
And it makes confidence for the players, I bet, to help give confidence, kind of,
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like I said. First off, you're not getting yelled at. I mean, there's enough pressure and stress as it is. But he is still there telling you,
Yeah.
How to, what he expects and what he wants for you to, play good for him.
That's awesome. Yeah, and so you played with the Red Wings, and you had Stevie Yzerman and Sergei Fedorov on your team. Did you ever get a chance to play on the line with them?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes with Steve and sometimes with Sergey. Great players. Different type style of players, but both were outstanding and great guys to work with and a lot of fun to play with.
And was it easy to find open ice with them? Like working with them, was it a lot easier than your average player? Did you find that a difference?
Well, there's a lot of good players. Mm-hmm. Definitely, finding open space and working together with those players is important. And some players you hit it off really well with, and some players your styles are either too similar or too different. So, yeah. But yeah, it was great.
That's awesome. And their skills, obviously, they push the other players to work harder, right, with their skill level. Did you see that a lot?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the top players are always pushing, the other players to help and work hard and do as much as you can to help the team. And usually your top players are also your top workers, and so they lead by example, and they expect you to follow along with those same work ethics.
Yes. And you also had Bob Probert on your team. How physical was he in practices? Was he a physical player in practices as he was in the game?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Probert was one of the tough guys ever to play the game. He was so good. He probably deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. And he knew his job. His job was not to be rough or tough with anybody on his team. Mm-hmm. It was to make sure guys were respected during games and that nobody was getting taken advantage of, and to provide a little extra room out there. Yeah. And he was one of the best guys at it.
Yeah, he was very respected for sure. Watched him fight. He was amazing with what he knew how to fight really good.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and you got a chance in St. Louis to play with Brett Hull. What was that like?
It was great. Again, anytime you're playing with top players, it's great. It's just a matter of figuring out how you can support and help them out. And Brett was a shooter, so he was very good at getting open. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to play with him, you had to figure out how to get the puck to him. It was a lot of fun watching him score so many goals, and the style of goal was a lot different than other players. Just a pure shooter with an amazing release, and he was one of the best at scoring goals.
Was he picky with his hockey sticks? Did you ever see that where he was very picky in return?
Oh yeah, he's very very picky. He wanted them a certain way, and if he didn't score, he usually blamed the stick and got a new one.
What was he looking for? Do you know exactly about? Was it
no,
the curve or the
not
flat?
really.
No, he was.
I think it was just the fact that if the puck was going in, he was happy. If it wasn't, he was going to move on.
Yeah, I got to ask you this. So, if a player has a stick or a certain curve that works for him, do they usually share with others? And I mean, was that something that they kept to themselves? Their trade secrets, or?
No, anybody can use anybody else's curve, or you can make your own curve. I mean, back in the day, they were custom sticks. They give you kind of some different patterns to look at, and if you needed to alter it a little bit, they were very good about doing that. And so yeah, it was the stick companies could pretty much make whatever you wanted. But they're still made, so they don't come the same every time, but they're close.
They're close. And what kind of sticks did you use over the years? And what was your favorite?
Yeah, I actually I used a CCM a lot, a wood stick. That was probably the one I used the most. And then they started getting into carbons and two-piece sticks and stuff like that, which changed the game and changed the way things were. I was probably happiest in my career when I was actually using the wood stick, the CCM stick.
And did you so you seem to obviously to use the one piece now. Would you, if you were gone back and they had the one piece, would you use those, or you still would have stuck with the wood sticks?
Probably one piece now. I mean, the amount of craftsmanship and technology that's gone into them, or just allowing guys to shoot the puck a lot harder.
Yeah.
So you got it's kind of like being on a golf course. You don't want to pull out a Persimmon golf club when you've got a big Bertha sitting over there that can launch it on extra 100 yards.
That's true. And what patterns did you use? What was your pattern that you used? I have a lot of stick buffs out there that like to hear this stuff.
I had a pattern in college that I liked. I don't remember whose it was, but I actually, when I got to New York the first year, I got called up and my sticks did not make it. And so, the trainer said, just take a look at what's there and pick out one you can use. And it was a Guy Lafleur stick, actually.
Wow.
So I got to use his stick, and I really liked it. I actually scored the first game with it. And so I kind of took that pattern for most of my career. And that's kind of how it all unfolded.
Was it what lie was it, a 5 or a 6? What was he using?
It was more of a 6, and it had kind of a curve that started in the middle and flared a little bit at the end. So,
that's awesome. And did you ever keep any of your jerseys over the years?
Oh yeah, I think I got all of them.
Oh wow. That's cool.
I would say maybe.
Yeah. And any favorite arenas you played with over the years?
There's a lot of great arenas. Madison Square Garden is, by far one of the most famous arenas, and was amazing to play at with all the fans. The Ranger fans are incredible. But any of the old, original 6 arenas like Chicago and Boston, those are just had so much history in them that it was just awesome to go in there. And again, the fans in Boston, Chicago, they're just they're real fanatics, and it's just great to play in front of such great fans that really, really love the game. You don't get the same feel in the big arenas now. More, the arenas now are more about how many people can you get in there, and how nice can you make it for these people. And in the old days, it was cram them in a small spot, and make it loud, and sell a lot of beer. So it was a lot of fun.
Are you a fan of the box seats? Because I'm not. I like the seats.
Yeah, I am not.
Me too. Yeah. Who was the toughest defenseman you ever faced to go against, like play against, go on one-on-ones and stuff like that?
Probably Scott Stevens.
Stevens.
Yeah, he was big, strong, really, actually back in the day when most D were very slow of foot, he moved pretty well, and didn't get beat very often. And then came the next movement of the Lidstroms and whatnot that, really could play the game, could move, could play a lot of minutes. The game's evolved now. Now you're seeing where the D, like Makar, constantly in the offense and constantly adding to, points and creating chances, and so it makes it even more difficult for to defend. Because you're usually it's not three guys, it's four guys that are coming at you.
Yeah, and Nicholas Lidstrom was a teammate of yours. How was he preparing? Was he very common, or was he like? Did he talk a lot in the dressing room, or was he a quiet type?
He's very quiet, very calm. Didn't get too excited. You could tell that in his play, and just could play.
Yeah.
Every shift, every game, very, very consistent.
That's awesome to hear. A lot of stuff we don't hear about, so it's nice that you tell us all this, because a lot of fans out there want to know how was the game back then, or how were the players. How did you prepare for a game? Did you have any regimen or any superstitions?
Oh yeah, everybody does. That's pretty much true in any sport. If it's just usually starts in the morning. You have certain things you do, and at lunch, everybody usually takes a little nap in the afternoon. Pretty much, there was superstitions you would do every game day, and as you got to the rink, there was more of them. You can watch players in warm up, and if you watch them 4 or 5 times in warm ups, they'll pretty much do a lot of the same things over and over again. One, it's getting you ready, but two, it's a superstition that they like.
Yeah, we all have them something, numbers. It could be anything. Everybody has some. Anything
Absolutely.
crazy that you've heard or seen that you can tell us?
No, I'm not a big storyteller, so there was just a ton of great memories through the years, and it was just it was great to be able to make it to that level and last as long as I did. I miss those days. Those were awesome days of some high quality hockey and a lot of fun.
Yeah. And when you played against your brothers, was there a different approach playing against them? Like if you went in the corner with them, were you playing the same as a regular opponent? I mean, was it different?
No, it's always the same.
Okay.
The last thing you want to do is try to let up, because that gets you hurt in the fast sport of hockey. So you got to play hard. The difference was you just got a little more prepared, because you knew, whoever won the game got to have all the talking points after the game. So, you didn't want to be the guy that's getting ridiculed after the game.
Are you the oldest brother of the three?
No, I'm in the middle.
In the middle, okay.
Yep.
And who's the older one?
Kelly is the oldest.
Kelly, okay. And he played for Washington. And if you were the NHL commissioner, what rules would you change or make?
I don't know. That's a good question. I know, the game's very fast right now. So it's constantly evolving. I know they're constantly tweaking things.
Yeah.
I would say there's more things that need to get changed in the youth game than in the pro game. The pro game is it's gonna try to create a very entertaining, fast style of play. I know they've tried to knock a lot of the physical play out, which is good and bad. I know there's a lot of fans that like the physical play, so so that's I think the game's pretty good. I would probably get rid of it, if anything, the shootout, and play 3-on-3 until the end, because I think 3-on-3 hockey is really fun to watch, and it doesn't usually last very long.
And you coach kids hockey right now. What would you change in the rules with the kids?
And actually, this is my first year not coaching it, but the offside rule is slowing the game down. It's creating more whistles, less flow. I fought against it for many years why they would put it in.
Would you do a
And
delay offside? Is what you're saying?
yeah, I would
Okay.
definitely
I
do a
agree.
delay offside. It's going to save you 10, 12 whistles every game, which is, if it's 30 seconds every whistle, it's about 6 minutes of hockey. So,
Yeah.
I don't like that rule. I don't like the you can't ice it when you're shorthanded rule.
Yeah.
It's another rule that, they want to create defensemen to be able to carry the puck, 200 feet and beat four people with the puck. That's not developing anybody.
No.
And a lot of these rules they put in because they think it's development. But, I've always been one that has said that your development comes in practice and workouts,
Yeah.
and your game is your reward.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of those two rules.
And who makes these rules? I mean, are they hockey players or are they just a bunch of beer league guys? Just kind of curious.
Yeah, for USA Hockey, they've got guys that have been around a long time.
Uh-huh.
But the rules are being sent into them from different. Every 4 years you're allowed to, if you don't like a rule, you can submit a change, and then it's up for debate, and then it's up for vote, and then it can go in or get taken out.
I mean, you're an NHL player and you've been there and done that. They should take your advice, I mean, it's crazy. I'm not a fan of USA Hockey for a lot of reasons, and they're not bringing the right people in to do the job. And I think a guy like you would be great to voice your opinion. They should listen and,
I sat on the board for 10 years, and
Oh, you
I
did?
fought them on all these issues, and that's why when my term was up, I was not voted back in.
They're crazy.
I fought too many of these rules that I didn't like, and they kind of like you to just go along and especially the guys like me that are put on there because you're an athlete that was in an Olympic or a world tournament. They kind of want to put you on there just so that they can show everybody that they've got ex-athletes on there, but it really doesn't seem like they really care to listen to you.
No. And how many games do you play career-wise overall?
Oh, that's a good question.
Approx.
Probably over 1,000 for sure.
Wow. And they don't want to listen to you. It's insane.
No.
It's crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Insane. Yeah. I want to thank you, Kevin, so much for coming on and talking to us. And I'm sure a lot of fans out there will love to hear from you and what you have to say, and really appreciate the time.
Yeah. I'm glad. I'm glad we were able to do this. Thank you for reaching out to me.
You're welcome.
Best wishes on your show, and hope all the fans are enjoying it.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Nice
All
talking
right.
to you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.